Test, test.
Testing, testing. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Anaheim Elementary School District March 9th board meeting. I am AESD Board President Juan Alvarez. I call this meeting to order at 5 p.m. This meeting is being conducted in person and by means of live video broadcast on our Anaheim Elementary YouTube channel for members of the public. Para español, puede conectarse por teléfono de la siguiente manera. Llame al 843-732-8295. Cuando se le pida, presione el PIN o la clave 589-712-155 y la tecla numeral. Any member of the public has an opportunity to address the board in person during the agendized public comment sessions or may choose to submit their public comments online by 12 p.m. on the day of the board meeting. Comments submitted online will be read during the appropriate agendized public comment session. Let's begin with the roll call. Let's see. Board member Mark A. Lopez.
Present. Present.
Okay. Board member Dr. Paula Magales.
Presente.
I'm present. Board member Alvarez. Okay. Okay. Item 1B, public speakers for closed session agenda items. There are no public speakers for closed session agenda items that were received as of 12 p.m. today. Okay. Let's go ahead and, can I get a motion to adjourn for closed session?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion.
I'll go ahead and second it.
Oh, thank you, sir. I'll have a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of adjourning to closed session?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to closed session. Thank you.
Test 1 2, test 1 2.
Testing, testing.
Test 1, 2. Check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, I think it had to do with the trim knob. Was just too hot. So I have to, whenever I turn these lights off, the monitors go off as well. So in order to turn the monitors on, you have to use the remote control in the back, and I'll show you how to do it. The next time I do this, we'll come together and I'll show you the whole setup.
Okay.
Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2.
Yeah, I heard it cut out too when you just turned your head a little bit.
Check 1, 2. Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
you can hear it cut out.
test 1, 2. Yeah. Or back here. Yeah. They got to be talking right into it. So I would just keep everything level on that one, and then go up to the main out on the top right or top left, and then that's the one you'll actually mix for house, like always. So I'm going to go around again to all of the mics. Why don't you do the cabinet mics?
What are we doing? Like the
We're just
volume?
testing mics. Go ahead and test yours.
Volume? It works.
Test, 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 test.
All right.
I win.
Testing, testing. Good.
Check 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Now this one, you're going to have to ride a little bit. You know. Okay.
Testing, testing, testing.
Check 1, 2. 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Check 1, 2.
Test, 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 test. 1, 2.
Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. I'd still rather go with an experienced pilot. This one's a little hot, and I'm getting a little bit of a ring, and I think that's because it's right on the border. We may get that with Iris as well. This is number 1. Check 1, 2, testing 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. So just take the level down on the, yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's much better. We don't need that much power. I'm still getting a little bit of a ring though. It's way down? Yeah, but because we're now starting to get under the speakers, it's probably a little bit more tinny. We might be able to equalize it out, but let's just try lowering the volume. And I lowered the trim on everything, so I'll double check, but, and her mic's, I mean, she's gonna say hello and that's it. Anything she's gonna do is gonna be, excuse me, gonna be from the podium, so I think we're fine, but. Hear that? Actually, it's not too bad.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Anaheim Elementary School District March 9th Board Meeting. I'm AESD Board President Juan Alvarez, and I call this meeting to order at 6:40 p.m. This meeting is being conducted in person and by means of live video broadcast on our Anaheim Elementary YouTube channel for the members of the public. Spanish interpretation of the board meeting is available to attendees. Para español, puede conectarse por teléfono de la siguiente manera. Llame al 843-732-8295. Cuando se le pida, presiona el PIN o la clave 589-712-155 y la tecla numeral. Let's begin with the flag salute. Dr. Downing, will you do us a pleasure? Thank you. All right, let's move on to introductions and roll call. Starting to my left, we have Board Member Mark Lopez.
Good evening.
Then we have Dr. Paulo Macalas,
Good evening, everyone.
Ryan Ruelas,
Hello.
Board Clerk Jackie Philbeck.
Good evening, everyone.
Once again, I'm Board President Juan Alvarez. And then to my left, we have Dr. Downing, our Superintendent,
Good evening, everyone.
Dr. Mary Grace, Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services,
Hello.
Dina Melland, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources,
Good evening.
Jesse Chavarria, Assistant Superintendent of Administrative Services.
Good evening, everyone.
And then to my right, we have Tracy Golden, our Senior Director of School Safety and Operations.
Good evening, everyone.
We also have Iris Camacho, our Senior Administrative Assistant.
Hello, everybody.
And then to the back, I believe we have Mary Madrigal and Alina Avila Roque, our interpreters. And then we have in the room as well, Janice Cato, our Technology Support Technician. And towards the back, we have Brian Brooks, our Media Services Supervisor. And also, we have Ben Hausman, our Media Production Specialist. Let's move on to item 3D, adoption of the agenda and consent calendar items. AB.4, amendment to agree with Granicus has been amended to read funding 010100158238. I hope I said that right. Board Education Consultant 21,450. Funding, am I supposed to say this? Yeah, right. 010101015860 Board Education Licensing Fee to 14,916. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda with that amendment?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, adoption of the agenda carries 5-0. Okay, let's move on to item 4, special order of business. First, we have a recognition of Mary Lynn Serrano, member of the Citizens Oversight Committee, Dr. Christopher Downing, our superintendent, Isela Vasquez, Senior Director of Facilities, Planning and Construction Services. Thank you.
Members of the board. I'm filling in for Isela. She's out sick today. So this evening, on behalf of the board, we want to recognize Mrs. Mary Ellen Serino for her valuable service and many contributions as the taxpayers' representative on the Measure G and J Citizens Oversight Committee. In her role as a member of the committee, her responsibilities included reviewing expenditures for bond projects to ensure that all proceeds were expended only for the purposes set forth in the voter-approved Measure G and J bond language. Mrs. Serino has served as a COC member for 20 years, beginning with the 2002 Measure BB, subsequently the 2010 Measure G, and the current 2016 Measure G and J Citizens Oversight Committees. The Serino family moved to Anaheim in 1995 when their kids were in 5th grade, 3rd grade, preschool, and a 2-year-old as well. Mary Ellen and her husband Doug now have 5 grandchildren. Mrs. Sereno shared that she and others were concerned about the year-round school schedule and classroom overcrowding at that time. Thus, she began her involvement with the district's facilities in 1998 with the first school bond attempt. When Measures BB passed in 2002, she was eager to serve on the Citizens Oversight Committee and has been serving ever since. Some of the most enjoyable parts of her 20-year involvement have been attending many groundbreakings, topping of ceremonies, and school construction site tours. Along with raising kids, holding many PTA positions, church callings, and community involvement, she is a nurse practitioner. She most recently assisted with the mass COVID vaccination clinics put on by the Orange County. We thank you, Mrs. Sereno, for your time, dedication, and earnest support of the Anaheim Elementary School District. At this time, it is my pleasure to invite Mrs. Sereno to the podium where Dr. Downing, our superintendent, will present you with a recognition certificate.
Thank you so much, Ms. Vernon, for your dedicated service and support of our district.
You're very welcome.
Please.
It's been an honor to be able to be involved with the district for so long. You know, as Jesse read, my kids were little. Our youngest was just a toddler. And now, you know, I've got 5 grandkids. One of them is attending this very district's charter school and loves it. The next, her sister's going to start there next year. And, you know, who knew I would still be involved 20 years after starting this service. My husband was joking. He says, well, you know, if there's term limits, how do you kind of last for 20 years? And there's been 3 bonds, and then the requirement in the bond language is that you have a parent representative, a PTA representative, a taxpayer representative, a senior citizen representative, a business representative. And we all would just say, okay, is there anybody to fill in this position? No, okay, you be that, and then you be that, and you be that. And so there was quite a few of us that were very invested. I chaired the Measure G campaign and involved with the earlier one, Measure BB, and just really came to really appreciate the hard work that staff does and the board keeping track of things. I see, you know, only a couple of people now, but the boards and I used to be on pretty first name basis, but it's good to see other people have stepped up and participating, and I think Dr. Grace has been here probably since the beginning. But again, thank you, and if I can be of help in other ways, let me know. Thank you. Oh.
Okay, moving on to item 5, news and updates. 5A, we have parent leadership group updates. There is a PTA parent group update presented tonight by PTA Treasurer Jesse Alvarez. Thank you.
Good evening, Board President Alvarez and the rest of the board and cabinet. Today I'm reporting on behalf of Sandra Valdez, our president. She cannot attend. She has catechism, swim, a lot of stuff going on Wednesdays, so I'm presenting on her behalf. So our first update is a reflections update. For the first time, since my involvement in PTA, I'm proud to announce that we had 2 awards for 4th District. We had a student from Betsy Ross, Sylvia Nguyen, who was awarded honorable mention for 4th District for intermediate visual arts. And then we had Wesley Alberg from Lincoln, who received the Award of Excellence for intermediate film production. And his entry moved on to the state level judging, which is very exciting. So we're very proud of the program we've built over the years. And we're excited to see more students move on to state level judging in the future. With that, both of the, not just their 2 awards entries, but all of the first place entries that we forwarded onto 4th District will be on display at the Reflections Awards Gallery. Dr. Grace and Dr. Downing and Board President Alvarez have all attended in the past. You guys are all invited to attend. It's a drop-in event. It'll be at Orange County Department of Ed on May 7th from 1 to 4 p.m. So you're able to view all of the entries that we submitted from our council and from all of the councils around Orange County. So it's really exciting. Our second update is for our online academy. We are finally, after a lot of work put in from the site, working with 4th District, we will be having our organizational meeting next week on March 17th to officially become a PTA. So we're really excited that we're finally able to get them on board as an official PTA as part of the Anaheim Elementary Council. As part of that, they are doing a membership drive. Many of our cabinet members and board members are already members. Just from the parents, they had 35 parents already by membership to get them going. So that's really exciting because they have to actually come to the site. It's a little different than our school site membership drives. So Emma's been really working hard to get that all going. It's something that we have to go through 4th District to do. So it's been a lot of like checking everyone's calendar and trying to get it. So we're really excited that that is finally going to be organized next week. Our third update is we will be having an in-person council election on March 22nd to elect our board for the 2022-2023 year. So we will be doing that in person. So we're really excited to see more of our parents in person from across our units. And we'll see what happens with our newly elected board, and we'll have to come back after the election to report out who will be our new board for the next school year. And with that, all of our sites are also in the middle of their elections. So this is a busy time for our units. We're finishing up an additional membership drive at the units to encourage membership for parents to become board members for next year. So some of our sites are doing in-person membership drives again to encourage their members to, get involved. It's an exciting time as we're slowly welcoming parents back on campus. So this is just like another way for us to continue building that momentum and till we're fully back on campus. Our fourth update is currently we have 2,486 members, not including the online academy, and that's across all of our other 23 units. The 4th District, which is all of Orange County and a little bit of LA County, has 85,000 total members. So they're the biggest, or we are the biggest district in the state of California. So we hold a lot of voting and membership advocacy power within those 85,000 members. And the next district behind 4th District has only like 60-something thousand. So we are 20,000 members stronger than the closest district in all of California. Our membership in 4th District is larger than some states, total membership. They're wrapping up an advocacy forum, and they do a lot of advocacy work throughout the state. And with that, there will be a state convention in Ontario in the end of April, beginning of May, that we will be sending people to represent our council and our units. So that's always exciting. And be looking into your board update or memo for the online academy membership. Emma has forwarded membership to all of the board so that you guys can be the first members of the new online academy. It's very exciting. And that's it for our update. Thank you.
Thank you. Association updates. There are no association updates tonight. Item 5C. You'll be speaking in just a second. And then 5C, district news and updates from Dr. Mary Grace.
Good evening, Board Member Alvarez, board members, and community. I'm here today to update us on some wonderful news in the district. We want to start out with the Teacher of the Year. Every year, through the HR department, we run a contest in association with the county and the state to select a Teacher of the Year from every school site. And then those teachers go on to compete at the county level, and we're very proud to share tonight with you that we have two teachers that have moved on and are recognized by the county as Teacher of the Year representing the district. The first is Mrs. Polisi. She's a 6th grade teacher at Orange Grove, and I think it was like February 17th, 18th. It was a Friday in February. HR, the superintendent, and some of our board members went out and did the prize patrol surprise for her, and her family was there, so it's always a nice day to make those announcements. And the second teacher is Senora Vargas, the kindergarten DLI teacher at Price. And again, board members, cabinet members, Dina and her staff, as well as the family, were there to surprise her. Also, each year, the Association of California School Administrators recognizes a student in every district as an Every Student Succeeding Award winner. This year, the student is Mimi Armand, a 5th grade student at Price. And with a smile like that, you can't help but succeed. We're excited that she will be recognized along with all the other students from all the districts next week at Bowers Museum with a brunch for her family and some nice swag from various partners throughout the county. This was a very exciting day last week. We were able to bring back our Esports Competition, and it started out with, we had students live in the studio, as well as the gentleman pictured below is a professional shoutcaster, and he came out and worked with the students on what does that mean? Like what preparation can they be doing now to be a shoutcaster in an esports league? So that was very exciting, and after a 2-year hiatus, this is very exciting. Also, as you know, March is Music in Our Schools Month, so we're here to pay some tribute to our music teachers throughout the district. Here we have Marshall, Mr. Phil Villalobos. We have the students playing, looks like drum circle in the class, and then outside with their instruments. He is at both Marshall and Gwynn. And then here's a picture of students at Revere with Miss Rosalie Sparks. And Ponderosa, they have 2 music teachers, so I'm not sure which one's here, but these are our younger students, and it looks like they're playing with some percussion instruments. And Edison on the right and Marshall on the left, students in general music. These 3 or 4 pictures represent Ross, Barton, and Franklin, students with guitars and xylophones. And I think that is the music teacher at Ross with her guitar she won from Save the Music and Gibson recently. And at Patrick Henry, our 4th graders outside playing their recorders. Barton again, the 5th grade students in the musical wheel playing with the xylophone. Roosevelt, again, another guitar winner, and the students with guitars and a general music class. And we're very excited to let everybody know we have some of our student musicals coming back. The first one is tomorrow. It's The Lion King, and this is with Gwen. It's in collaboration with Segerstrom Center for the Performing Arts. I know the principal is very excited to share not only the talents of our students, but the talents of the parents who put together the sets. Also on March 29th, 30th, and 31st, our Stoddard Stars will be putting on Seussical, the kids' version, which is one of the junior Broadway productions. And to top out the end of the year, we're really excited to bring back, we're trying to create all-city bands, if you will. So Loera High School, Ball Junior High, and the feeder elementaries from Anaheim will be having an area band concert, if you will. They're all going to learn the same song and play together, and that will be May 4th at Loera High School in the Quad. And we are also very excited that NAM is back in town. They threw us for a loop. They'll be here in June. We'll have more information on that, on how we will be working with the NAM Foundation. But we're also excited that we will be having a mariachi workshop through Yamaha and Miss Marcia Neal. And again, we announced this last week, but we're also very excited that Ritmo was able to bring back their mariachi to our legacy DLI schools, Price, Juarez, and Lincoln. So that concludes the news and updates for this week. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Grace. Okay, let's move on to public speakers, speakers on agenda or non-agenda items. Today we have Maria Quinoni from CSCA. Thank you, Maria. So just so you know, you have 3 minutes on the clock. Once we get down to 1 minute, Board Clerk Philbeck will hold up a yellow card, so you know that you have a minute left. And then once the time expires, she'll turn it to the red. Okay, thank you. Go ahead. Thank you.
Good evening, Board and Cabinet. It is a pleasure to be here this evening. My name is Maria Quiñones, and I am the Chapter Secretary for CSEA. And I'm pleased to announce that yesterday our members voted and they approved our TA tentative agreement for 21-22 regarding wages, and also the MOU for 1 extra workday, and it's on the board agenda for your approval. And CSEA stands for California School Employees Association, but I think it should stand for caring, super, essential, and amazing. So that's it that I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Let's move on to item 7, Superintendent's Report. Item A, AESD return to in-person instruction update by Dr. Christopher Downing and Tracy Golden, and Dr. Yadira Moreno, Director of School and Family Community Engagement.
All right, good evening, members of the board. I'm here to give an update on our COVID safety protocols and some numbers for our testing clinics. So I'm happy to announce that we are partnering with California Department of Public Health again to offer some more vaccine clinics. So they will be coming to Ross and Henry. You can see the dates there, March 30th, April 20th, March 31st, and April 21st. So we will begin to start advertising that to our families and our community. Our testing numbers, this is the testing that we've done at Key and all our school sites. You can see that it ranges anywhere from 500 or so up to about 720. We also are still providing community testing. They are available on Monday and Wednesday from 4 to 6 at Man and Ponderosa. The California Department of Public Health announced that starting on March 12th, the masks mandates that are in schools right now is now going to be strongly recommended rather than required. March 12th is a Saturday, so for our purposes, starting on March 14th, which is Monday, all students and staff may choose to wear a mask while on district property. Also, that also applies to our school buses. So again, on the school buses, it's also strongly recommended but not required. So we will support every stakeholder's choice of whether to wear a mask or not, and the district will continue to provide surgical masks and the KN95 masks for any employee or student who needs one or wants one. The screening protocols, we've changed a couple things about it, but we are still screening every person that comes onto one of our district properties. For our employees, we're going to transition over to employees monitoring themselves for symptoms and reporting any symptoms that they have directly to our COVID team, rather than reporting to the company nurse, which was a service that we were using. So it's still self-monitoring at home and reporting directly to our team. For visitors, we will continue to ask the symptom questions verbally. The change here will be that no physical temperatures will need to be taken by our staff. The questions already include whether or not you've had a fever, whether you have a temperature higher than 100.4, I think. So we're just reducing the actual physical taking of the temperatures. For our students, the procedure hasn't changed. So we're continuing to have parents self-monitor their kids for symptoms and to have them stay home if they're having any COVID-like symptoms. We also have developed some school activity guidelines so that we can start to bring back our visitors and volunteers onto our campuses. School activities and field trips will resume. And we are currently working on a volunteer policy for all our volunteers on our campuses that will include TB testing and background checks. And just a quick note, California still does require that all school employees provide a proof of vaccination or take a COVID-19 test weekly. We are doing this right now, and so we'll continue to do that with the same process. That public health order is still in effect and has not been changed by the new mask mandates. And that concludes my portion of the presentation, so I want to pause and see if there's any questions or clarifications that you need. No? Okay, then I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Dr. Yadira Moreno.
Good evening, Board President, Board, and Cabinet. I'm here to just kind of update you on what's going on the School Family and Community Engagement Office. I'll begin with expanded learning and just a reminder of our program goals and what we're working to sustain in our before and after school setting. Those continue to stay the same and guide our decision making when implementing after school and before school activities for our students. Currently, we have 7,285 students participating in our ELOP program. We have 2,270 Anaheim Achieves students and 5,015 students in the ELO program. So together, that's a little bit over 7,000. So something very exciting as we head into March. We just pushed out our ELO newsletter last week. We got a little bit over 13,000 reads and lots of dialogue between our parents. So it's exciting to see them engage, asking questions on how to register their child, suggestions on next steps, which is really exciting. Just a little key little details that I just kind of want to highlight, that at all our sites we have SEL, which our BHAs are working at every school site. Sports engagement through our company Elevo. We have tutors. And this month we began the Segerstrom Cultural Assembly. So there's at least 5 scheduled per site. We also have a number, because it's a partnership, it takes a village really for our students. So we have 156 current certificated staff working after school and 102 classified staff. And something that something I like to highlight is that we do have 4 students are attending our ELO programs from the online academy, which is exciting. So our 5 assemblies that you'll be seeing kind of throughout your schedules, and you're more than welcome to visit and capture this fun, engaging assemblies, is Danza Azteca. So we have Korean classic music and dance, Jazzy Ash and the Leaping Lizards, which is the only kids jazz band. We have Baba the Storyteller, and Island Inspirations. So you could see those are our scholars from Juarez engaged in their Island Inspiration Assembly this week. And in our parent engagement component, tomorrow we have our PLI meeting at Key Campus at 9 a.m. where amazing Rhonda Robertson and Valerie Valencia will be supporting our parents through the pathway to reclassification. So they will be participating in an activity, again, based on parent feedback on continuous conversation around how to reclassify our students. And that's some students from Stoddard Elementary smiling at you to end our update. Any questions?
No, but those programs look really cool. If I had kids, I'd love for them to be a part of it. Very exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, now we're moving on to 7B, the 2021-22 second interim report. Jesse Chavarria, Assistant Superintendent of Administrative Services. Thank you.
Once again, good evening, Board President Lopez, members of Alvarez, members of the board. This evening, I'm presenting to you the 21-22 second interim report for your approval. But before I begin, I do want to acknowledge the hard work of our business and fiscal teams, right, and their respective leaders, Priscilla Martinez and Matt Slusser. They do an amazing job of putting all the necessary information in order for us to bring you this report this evening. As we have previously shared with the board, the purpose of the district budget is to fulfill the vision, mission of the district through the goals and objectives of the board. One of these important goals is the fiscal stability goal that prioritizes the district and site budgets to meet the needs of students while maintaining fiscal solvency. So this evening's 21-22 second interim report takes this goal into consideration. So what is the second interim report? The second interim report is a report that captures all known revenues and expenditures from July 1st of 2021 through January 31st of 2022. The budget is then updated with more current projections of how the district will operate through the remaining fiscal year, and we will come to the board with our next report in the form of the estimated actuals that are part of the adopted budget that we'll present to the board in June. So of course, as part of any interim report, we have to make certain assumptions. These are the assumptions that were considered in creating the second interim report. ADA funding of $15,579, which aligns with the whole harmless clause. That local control funding formula is fully funded, a cost of living adjustment of 5.07%, a STIRS rate of 16.92%, a PERS rate of 22.91%, and lottery funding of $163 per ADA unrestricted and $65 per ADA restricted. So what are some of the changes in terms of revenue from the first interim that we presented to you in December to the second interim? Well, these are the following. Under the LCFF revenue, we receive funding for a slightly higher unduplicated count that was reflected versus what was reflected at first interim. At first interim, we had an 85% unduplicated count. We received funding at 87.6%. Under federal revenue, we are recognizing an increase in ELOG ESSER 2 as well as ESSER 3 for the expenditures that were made. If the board recalls, in a previous budget presentation, we shared with you that under federal guidelines, any ESSER funds were to be recognized as we spend them. So you'll see in some information in terms of our expenditures, how we spend some additional things, and now we are able to recognize some of the additional ESSER funds. And under other state revenue, we receive funding for the pre-K planning and implementation grant, as well as the educator effectiveness grant, and a slight special education contribution. And under local revenue, we receive some additional funds under the CalFresh and the United Wage site grants that some of our schools receive. So the slide here, or the table here on this slide, shows the revenue changes I just mentioned. So I'll go through each of those changes. Under LCFF, there's a difference there of $500,000. Like I mentioned, that's the increase from 85% unduplicated to 87.6. Under the federal revenue, a change there of $3.6 million. That's reflected on the recognition of the ESSER 2 and the ESSER 3 funds that I previously mentioned. Under state revenue, there's a difference of $4.5 million. That has to do with the money we received on the educator effectiveness grant, about $4.3 million, and about $200,000 on the TK implementation grant. And then under local revenue, a difference of $53,000, basically coming to us in additional funds from the CalFresh, like I mentioned, as well as United Way grant. So the pie chart here kind of shows you where our funding comes from as a percent of the overall revenue. So the bulk of our funding comes from LCFF, followed by federal revenue, state revenue, and finally our local revenue there. So in terms of expenditures, what were some of those changes since first interim? Well, under salaries and benefits, we had a negotiated salary contract agreement with our teacher association to increase the salaries of 2.5% ongoing, as well as a 2% one-time. The CSEA negotiated salary agreement is not reflected here because the board has not taken action on that agreement. Under books and supplies, we bought TK furniture in preparation for the expansion of TK, as well as some technology purchases, including Promethean panels in our classrooms across the entire district. And under services and other operating costs, like Dr. Moreno shared with you, we enter into some additional contracts for services for the ELOP program to provide services for our students after school. And under capital outlay and other outgoing, we had some equipment purchases and maintenance and operations. So the table here kind of reflects what I just mentioned. I'll go through some of those items. So under certificated salaries, you see a difference of 3.2 reflected in the salary agreement. Under supplies, a difference there of $3 million. That's the TK furniture as well as the Promethean panels that I mentioned. And under services, a difference of $2.9 million. Those are the additional service contracts that we enter to provide after-school services under the ELOP program. And then a slight difference there of $10,000 in capital outlay. That has to do with maintenance and operations, purchase of some equipment. So the pie chart once again here kind of shows each of our expenditures as a percentage of overall, the total. As you can see, most of our expenditures are invested in our people, which are the heart or soul of our organization. So as part of the second interim, we also have to do a multi-year projection. And of course, assumptions have to be made. this table here reflects the assumptions that were taken into consideration as we prepare that multi-year projection. In terms of enrollment, we're projecting for this year 14,882, for 22-23, 14,336, and for 23-24, 13,816. Regarding the cost of living adjustment, this year we received 5.07%. For 22-23, we are using what the governor is proposing, what he stated back in January, 5.33%. And then for 23-24, they're projecting a 3.61 cost of living adjustment. Under the STIRS and PERS expenses there, we're projecting a cost of $313,000 this year, growing to $3.6 million for 22-23. And that has to do, that drastic increase has to do there with the STIRS moves up an increase of over 2%, and PERS is an increase of over 3%. And then you see in 23-24, it goes back down to about $342,000. That has to do with the STIRS rate, stays the same, whereas the PERS rate, there's a very slight increase. And under a step-in column, every year, pretty much, based on this multi-year projection, it's costing us about $2.6 million in terms of step-in column each of those years. Under revenue projection for this year, we're projecting $302.2 million. For 22-23, we're projecting $246.6 million, and for 23-24, $228.8 million. So, based on those projections, here are the summary projected totals that we're anticipating. Under revenue for 21-22, a total of $302.2 million. For expenditures, $288.2 million, leaving us a positive net result of $14 million with a beginning fund balance of $37 million. We're projecting an ending fund balance for this year at $51.1 million. For 22-23, we're estimating revenues at $246.6 million, estimated expenditures at $262.4 million, with a negative net result of $15.8 million, a beginning fund balance of $51.1 million. We are projecting an ending fund balance for 22-23 of $35.2 million. And then for 23-24, estimated revenues of $228.8 million, estimated expenditures of $238.4, giving us a negative net result of $9.6 million. With the beginning fund balance of $35.2 million, we're projecting an ending fund balance in 23-24 of $25.6 million. So future considerations that can affect our budget, our enrollment projections, the rising pension obligation, like it was mentioned, that drastic increase for next year, future negotiations, textbook adoptions, health and welfare costs, special education, and of course nowadays inflation as well. So our recommendation to the board is that the district certify as positive for second interim, meaning that the district will be able to meet its obligations this year as well as the next 2 years as well. And in terms of next steps, the Budget Advisory Committee will meet on March 23rd. We will review the governor's May revision in May. We will have a public hearing for the LCAP and the proposed budget in early June. And then, of course, the board will consider approving the adopted budget as well as the LCAP plan in mid-June as well. And I will open it up to any questions you have regarding our second interim report.
Thank you, Mr. Chavarria. Just one question on slide 9.
Mm-hmm.
The third item on the list of benefits, that includes medical and retirement, correct?
Let me go back. That one right there?
Yes.
Yeah. Under benefits?
Right.
Yes, that's the health and welfare cost.
Okay. Does it include retirement? Pensions at
No.
all? No? That's just the
No.
health and welfare?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It includes, we do have a cost in terms of those who retire in terms of their medical benefits up to the age 65.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could
speculate on what accounts for the decrease?
Typically is, we have employees that either went to a different district and they were costing us so much, right? We also maybe had a vacancy and we anticipated such a cost, but then we hired someone that maybe came in, decided to just pick the single plan, and the previous person had a family plan that were there. So we always go on the conservative side and kind of go with a larger amount when we're budgeting in terms of a potential vacancy. So that's kind of where the difference comes in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
One last thing, too.
Uh-huh.
I think you had given me a promotion again at the beginning of your
I know.
comments.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure.
Yes.
I did pass I gave up the gavel to President
Yes,
Alvarez. So
well,
I just wanted to make sure.
It was my
Yeah.
first one after being out for a while presenting here,
I
so
know.
yes.
Welcome back.
Last
We're
time I
glad to-
presented, you were there, that's right.
We tried to trip you up a little bit by
Yes.
switching seats while you were gone.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, it is recommended the Board of Education approve the 2021-2022 second interim report as presented. Education code requires school districts to file interim reports at least 2 times per year. The purpose of the interim report is to certify the district's financial condition at periodic intervals during the fiscal year. The second interim report reflects the reporting period as of January 31st, 2021. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Philbeck.
Motion.
Second,
I have a-
Rollis.
I have a motion, Philbeck, and a second, Rollis. And any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries 5-0. And just so you know, everyone, the presentations that were shown today at tonight's board meeting will be available on the district website under the Board of Education page by tomorrow. Let's move on to item 8, consent calendar. Items listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and are acted on by the board in one motion. There is no discussion of these items unless a member of the board, staff, or the public requests specific items to be discussed and/or removed from the consent calendar. Are there any items that need to be removed from the consent calendar, or pulled, sorry?
Yes, Board President, can you please pull A2A on page 4? Again, that's A2A on page 4. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, any other? No, we're good, okay.
No, I would like to please pull D4.
D4.
D4. I don't know.
Page
6,
7? D4 on page 7? Okay, thank you. Any others? Okay. Okay, it is recommended the Board of Education ratify the remaining items of the consent calendar. Can I get a motion?
So moved, Rollis.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Okay, let's move on to item A2A on page 4. Okay, item A2A, conference attendance plus expenses for the board only. Do I have a motion to discuss? Motion?
Second.
Second. Okay, let's go ahead and discuss item A2A.
Yeah, I just pulled it because this particular item with regards to the California Council for the Social Studies Conference is what I attended, so I would have to abstain from that, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
I get you. Okay. Thank you, Dr. McCallis. Okay, all in favor of approving item A2A on page 4, say aye. Oh, any further discussion? I'm sorry.
Wait, I'm confused. Why does he have to abstain from voting on this?
Huh? Oh, you don't?
Why does he have to abstain from
Oh,
voting
he doesn't
for
have to
this?
abstain?
He
Oh.
does not have to.
Oh, okay, sorry, I thought
Okay.
because,
Well, I mean, we've gotten the same thing for CABE, we've gotten the same thing for other events that we've gone to. And we
Ah,
voted,
okay,
and
okay.
I've never abstained, otherwise I've been breaking the law.
okay, no, I just want to make sure I don't break the law.
No, there's no requirement to abstain.
Okay, thank you.
You don't have to.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
Sure, thanks. Thanks for taking a look at that, though.
Okay.
All right, so all in favor of approving, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? And abstentions? None, okay. Item carries 5-0. Let's move on to page 7, item D4.
Huh, my mistake.
Okay, item D4, it says, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve a stipend payment of $5,000 to AESD program site coordinators of the Expanded Learning Opportunities ELOP for program planning, organizing, supervision, and record keeping of ELO from November 8th, 2021 through March 4th, 2022, as listed in Exhibit A, D.4. Do I have a motion to discuss?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Discussion, please.
So one of the reasons why I pulled this item is because obviously this is a very important after-school program that we're doing, the extended learning opportunities. I think it's great. But I want everybody to be a little bit more transparent here when it's said and done. And so I have some questions that I just want to highlight. The first one I have is a question just entitled the AESD program site coordinators. When I look at the list, it's basically administrators. So why are we changing the name?
I'll address that. We began the program with administrators. Since that time, we are having a AEA member that has become a site coordinator, and it will be our goal to transition to either administrators or AEA members with administrative credentials as we move forward with the program.
Thank you. My second question, and this kind of leads into that, is you said that we have an AEA member that is basically serving in this capacity. So with my question is then, since these are stipend positions and we are kind of blurring into a little bit of AEA teachers, was this flown for all AEA members who have an administrative credential to apply?
So for the third trimester, there's one school that needed a site coordinator, so for us to reach out for with teachers. And so there was the opportunity to all the teachers at this one site who had who were eligible to apply for it. And then they were going to do interviews. I believe only one teacher did apply for it.
Okay, great. The third question I have is, how did we come up with this number of 5,000?
The 5,000 is a stipend. It's less than a $50 per hour for the number of hours anticipated to work. It's approximately 2.5 hours per day to support the additional time. Again, we did not, based on our guidance from legal, we could not pay a hourly salary that would be equitable to our administrators. So this number was determined based on the anticipated duties associated with beginning this program. And I just want to be clear, as this program was launched, it did require additional time of administrators. It requires planning, it requires supervision. It is not, in many cases, a 2.5 hour per day responsibility. There are times when students aren't picked up on time, so it is truly that site coordinator's responsibility to be there until all students are picked up from the program, to supervise these tutors that are coming in that are not district staff, to jump in if a staff member doesn't show up, to address any safety concerns, to conduct investigations if necessary. And that's why it will be critical as we move forward to make sure that everyone who coordinates the program does have an administrative credential.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Downing. And that brings me, I guess, kind of to a more kind of technical question in the sense of like, what are basically our administrators' specific working hours?
The administrators have at least an 8-hour site commitment, and this is in addition to. So the goal of this from the state was always to create a 9-hour school day. That's inclusive of instructional minutes as well as recess times and PE. So again, there are some schools that are operating this program beginning as early as I think 7 a.m. and other programs that are ending after 4:30, sometimes up to 5. And again, if there are any additional responsibilities aligned to it, then the administrator would be required to be on campus.
So if we have schools that are basically offering the extended learning opportunities in the morning, and then also, like you said, in the afternoon, I could basically, or any of us can walk in and we will see that coordinator there at 7 a.m. and they will not be leaving until 5.
That is correct.
Okay. And so then I guess then my final question would be is, have we looked at any ways in regards to, since we have administrative teams of principals and vice principals, in regards to looking at flexing their time so that we could kind of stagger things about it?
Yeah, we are exploring all options as we move forward. I would say that, again, we were the first district in the county to provide this opportunity. When the state provided their guidance, it was very sparse in terms of what the requirements were. So this was our problem solved to get our program off the ground. As you can see that we now have over 5,000 students and families that are taking advantage of this program on a day-to-day basis, and the supervision is in place at all of these schools. I would invite you, again, to look at the hours of the program, and the site coordinators are there, and sometimes above and beyond those hours.
Okay, great. That concludes my questions.
All right, any other concerns or questions regarding the item? Okay, let's go ahead and vote. All in favor of approving the
Oh,
item?
actually, I'm sorry. I do have one more.
Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry. When I looked here, it said basically for supervision and record keeping of ELO from November 8th of 2021 through March 4th of 2022. So should we be anticipating another request for a $5,000 stipend to service the students from March of whatever today is, March 5th until the end of June?
For the third trimester,
Yeah.
that is our anticipated stipend. However, again, we are exploring options for next year.
Okay, thank you. All right, you ready? All right, do you want to do, I think we should do, no. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed?
I oppose.
Okay, so we have four ayes and 1 opposed. Okay, and, oh wait, I didn't ask any abstentions? All right, so motion passes 4-1. Thank you. All right, let's move on to the action calendar. Superintendent's Office. It is recommended the Board of Education adopt resolution number 2021-22/30 declaring March 31st, 2022, or the days surrounding it as Cesar Chavez Day throughout the Anaheim Elementary School District. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries 5-0. It is recommended the Board of Education adopt resolution number 2021-22/31 in support of for National Child Abuse Prevention Month.
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second? All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Let's move on. Item B, Educational Services. It is recommended the Board of Education adopt resolution number 2021/22/22/28 in support of School Library Week, April 3rd
So
through 9th.
moved.
Okay, I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Item C, SELPA, there are no items. Item D, let's move on to Human Resources. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the tentative agreement between the district and the California School Employees Association, CSEA. The major fiscal considerations of the agreement include an upward adjustment of one range for all classifications currently on ranges 1 through 42, effective July 1st, 2021. A 2.5 increase to range A of the classified salary schedule effective July 1st, 2021, and a one-time off-schedule payment equal to a 2% increase to the unit members' 2021 through 2022 base salary. AESD and CSEA entered into an MOU regarding an additional workday added to the 2022-2023 work year. For CalSTRS members, the salary increase will be included on the March 31st, 2022 pay date. The retroactive payment for the salary increase will be...
So moved.
Okay. I have a motion. Do I have a second? Okay, I have a motion and a second. In discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Item 2, it is recommended the Board of Education approve the 2.5 salary increase for the classifications on the provisional salary schedule effective March 10th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Item 3, it is recommended the Board of Education approve the new job description and recruitment for Human Resources Supervisor. This position shall be on range 13 of the Classified Management Salary Schedule effective March 10th, 2022.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Item 4, it is recommended the Board of Education approve the revised job description and name change from instructional assistant preschool to instructional assistant early childhood education. This position shall remain on range 7 of the classified salary schedule.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just that I like this because it really does clarify a little bit more. Just like when we went from Anaheim Anaheim, city school district to the Anaheim Elementary, it just clarified it a little bit more. And I just like the way that it went from preschool to encompass early childhood education, because it just says so much more and doesn't limit it just to preschool, because early childhood education is much, much more than just preschool. So I think this is great, so thank you. Even though it's just a simple name change, sometimes those simple name changes do a lot. They mean a lot, so thank you.
Sure, thank you. Any other comments? Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Let's go to item E, Administrative Services. It is recommended the Board of Education adopt resolution number 2021-22/29 declaring April 26, 2022 as School Bus Drivers Appreciation Day throughout the Anaheim Elementary School District, acknowledging bus drivers for their continued excellence in their service to the youth within the community.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Move on to item 10, board discussion. Board member activities related to school business. Let's start with Trustee Lopez.
All right, thank you, President Alvarez. I appreciate that. I want to start off with February 24th. I had the opportunity right after our last board meeting to see Dr. Downing in action, not in action, but in action, as he was at the Know My Name, Face, and Story online colloquium. As always, he represented the district well, and also gave kind of his personal history and story. And I think that that really helped with all viewers. It was kind of fluctuating. I think we had about almost 200 at one point viewing the live stream. And for those of you who missed it, I just got an email on Monday to watch the replay on Vimeo. So it's online. It's going to go viral. So if you haven't had a chance, go ahead and take a look at that. March 5th, I was able to attend a virtual basic Korean language class by Jefferson Elementary. A few of our parents were there as well. Ms. Bermudez was there, who's here in the audience with us this evening. So I would just like to say 감사 합니다 to all of the, did I get that right, Ms. Bermudez? Yes? Okay. Okay, getting there. Okay, I got a couple more classes to go. So, and then this week I attended some school site, just staff meet and greets. I was able to meet with our Anaheim Elementary Online Academy on Monday. Yesterday I met with Clara Barton Elementary staff, and this afternoon Thomas Edison staff. So great time had by all who could attend. Looking forward to, after a brief hiatus, trying to meet with many of our other school sites, making my way through different schools. So with that, that concludes my report. Thank you, President Alvarez.
Thank you, Board Member Lopez. Dr. McCullis?
Thank you, Board President. I only have one event to announce. Last week, on March 4th, 2022, I did attend the California Council for the Social Studies Conference. Just one of the 3 days I attended. This happened right down the street. It was literally at the Hyatt. And I caught it late, and I apologize for that. But when I saw that they were going to be hosting it here in our community, I had to attend, particularly because I knew that Assembly Member Medina, who wrote and authored the historic Ethnic Studies Bill, yes, in the state of California, we are leading the way in ethnic studies. He was in attendance. We also had Laura Houston, our TOSA, who was also in attendance. And we got to meet the assemblyman. It was awesome. But most importantly, we were able to attend the administrators' colloquium, which updated, principals and there were other trustees throughout Orange County about some of the monies that would be coming with regards to ethnic studies. I'm proud that as a district, even before that assembly bill was passed, we are already in the process of starting to do some training in culturally responsive pedagogies and ethnic studies. So I just want to share that it was an amazing event, and I would love to share some notes with everybody. Thank you. That's all I have to report.
Thank you, Dr. McCullis.
Oh, and also some amazing things on civic engagement, also in the colloquium as well. That was presented by Michelle Herzog, who was actually trained us in the California Democracy School. So there's just amazing things happening coming up as well. Thank you. And Laura was awesome. She was taking notes, and she was like, oh, this is what I want to do with the first graders, second graders. And I was just like, oh, wow. She's like, here, look at this. It was awesome. I'm really curious with regards to some of our PD's monies, if that's possible to send some of our teachers to future PDs as well. So maybe something for a future agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Board Member Morales?
Yes, so I honestly went into this week thinking to myself that I wasn't going to have a board report at all, just because I've been so consumed with work. However, yesterday I did have some time off to go deal with some personal stuff, nothing significant in the sense my dog had puppies, so I had to take her to the vet, and that gave me some time because if I took a half day, I'm going to use a half day. So as a result, I was able to swing by James Gwen, and I was able to hang out there for a little while, and it was awesome. I have not been to James Gwen, I will confess, until before the pandemic took place. So this was no, I lie. No, that's true. That was basically the case. When I went there and we went onto campus, it was a totally different vibe. The old portables have been taken down and replaced with a beautiful parking lot. So this concept of there's no parking anymore, that's not going to happen. And then when you veer to the left, there is, I don't know how many there are total, but they're beautiful modules that are there with nice brickwork and an awesome stage, and even the bathrooms were cool. I was super impressed with everything. Jesse, I just want to say kudos to you for dealing with some of the situations that we had in that area with some neighbors complaining about the new kind of change in locations. That fence is gorgeous that's put up. A lot of privacy for our kids and the families whose backyards back up to it. It's awesome. I encourage everyone to please head over to Gwen tomorrow and check it out. Doors open at 4:30 to go watch The Lion King, which is taking place at 5 o'clock. So that is my sales pitch to all of you. Check it out. It's beautiful, and our tax dollars are paying for it. And then I headed over to Ponderosa, and I saw the newer principal there, Dr. Vidal Valdez, in action. He and I walked around with his instructional coach, I want to say Caitlin Quayle, and I really enjoyed our conversations about the students. I really enjoyed chatting it up with Caitlin in the sense, and one of the things also that I just want to mention that I was really, really happy to see is the use of the Promethean boards. I saw them being utilized in every single class we went into. They were being utilized. And so that makes me, as an educator, super happy, mainly because of the fact that I remember when we had these touch boards and they stayed there and nobody utilized them. So I'm really happy to see that if we're investing in this great technology, that's one thing, but it's also another thing to make sure that we're investing in appropriate professional development to show how learning can come to life. And with that, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Morales. Board Clerk Philbeck.
Okay, I also, as did Mr. Lopez, zoomed in on the whole title of this is pretty cool. Know My Name, Face, and Story. And it was the online colloquium in celebration of Black History Month, of which, as Mr. Lopez stated, our own Dr. Downing was one of 4 featured speakers. And they were all great, but of course, I was most proud of Dr. Downing and also representing us. And it was very, very interesting and program, and I enjoyed it. So, also, Chalk webinar, we've had another one, and as COVID has progressed over the past few years, I have found these webinars to be invaluable just for the information that's imparted and given. And we do get it through some other ways, but these webinars have really been informationally very superior. And so this, and it's gone along as what have kind of been the hot spots, along the way. And the last one was on innovative approaches to pediatric mental health during the pandemic. Because we're sort of there now, where we're recognizing the need is more than we even realized it would be, and that there needs to be resources put for that. And it just was really interesting, some of the things that they're doing to bring about more of a healing in that area, not just for the students, but, or for the children, I should say, but for their families, the parents and everyone that is struggling when there is a pediatric mental health issue. Still continuing with my wellness series, and I always mention that because I hope anybody that's listening will look through some of these great programs that I believe these are selected, Tracy, by the insurance committee, and there's just a lot of great stuff. Now this one it was a long one. I think we're in week 8 of 10 weeks, but I definitely have learned some things, healthier eating habits and some exercise tips. Have lost a little weight without really trying, so I guess maybe some of these things are, think about if I really try. But I am learning a lot, and I appreciate these programs because I also looked on the selection thing there, because I was going to join something like a Pilates class or something. It's all there. The videos are all there. You can just, we, the employees, can just go right in and there I am, voila. I don't have to go join anything or pay money. It's right there. So I really appreciate it, and I hope that others will at least look and see. It's kind of like a little health candy store, so to speak, what's available to me. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Tracy, and the committee that puts all these great selections together. Last week was, of course, if you know me, you know that Read Across America is one of my favorite weeks of the whole year. And it was great to, I had a couple of books that were videoed, and so through another agency, but the district was kind enough to send those out to all the schools, so they got a couple of those. But then I also, on site, I started at Jefferson, and I read for Mrs., is it Coaster? Mrs. Coaster. 2nd grade, Mrs. Kim, kindergarten, Mrs. Terry, 4th grade, Mrs. Hall, 1st grade, and Mrs. Garcia, 5th grade. All the kids were just great listeners. And then I went on over another day to Franklin for Ms. Loper, a 2nd grade DLI class, and Mrs. Singleton, a 3rd grade class. And I finished up the end of the week at Price with Mr. Vidalis in 5th grade and Mrs. Austin in 6th grade. And I want to mention them. I like to mention their names because they allowed me to come into their classrooms and take up some of that valuable class time, just to do something a little fun and read. And the kids were fantastic in every single class. They were attentive, and I couldn't have asked for better. Just want to remind everybody the YMCA Gala is on April 9th, Saturday, and also that Sunday, April 24th, the Anaheim Public Library Foundation 25th Annual Mystery Authors Luncheon and Silent Auction, and both of those will be really fun. With that, I'll conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Clerk Philbeck. I want to start off my report. I visited a virtual space on Saturday, February 26th with the Korean DLI program. They had a family craft morning. So it actually, what I was expecting was literally that, just showing up and the kids doing a craft with their teacher, but it was way more than that. And so I want to speak to how I am seeing the connection to our culturally responsive teaching in play, and I saw it in play that morning. The teacher, Jacqueline So, read a book to the children called Sometimes People March. It's by the author Tessa Allen. Really cute story about relating things that children would understand, things that march, like ants march, different things march, and sometimes people march, and leading to the idea of how people march to cause movements or social movements, it was really really inspirational to see that. And all this to tie in the idea that the kids were going to be talking about the Korean flag eventually, and about the March 1st movement that happened in Korea. And I actually got a history lesson that day that I didn't know about. I didn't realize that Japan ruled over Korea for a while. That's something I just missed over the course of my education. And so the children were able to make a connection there. And not only did they speak on that topic in a very age-appropriate manner, but also included some talk about women and the role they played in that struggle, and in how college students came together to create a movement in Korea. And then they eventually got to the activity where they made a craft involving the Korean flag and spoke about the meaning behind the different symbolism on the flag. So I was just super impressed by the fact that it was a lesson in action, in play, demonstrating exactly how we can take culturally responsive teaching and pedagogy and infuse it with elementary students at their level, and have them understand and interact with it and learn from it, right? So I was just really impressed by that morning, and I'm super stoked about how we can further use lessons like this and be creative in using books that are already written at the reading level of our kids and comprehension level, and use symbolism and gender and anything, right, to get these stories to come to life for our kids and understand the world around them. So I was just really impressed with that visit. And I just want to give kudos to Jacqueline So for facilitating that. I don't have anything else related to school business besides I want to wish Dr. Downing happy birthday. His birthday was on Monday. And if you join me on humor me to sing him happy birthday on 3. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Dr. Downing. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Much appreciated.
Of course, yeah. Okay, that concludes my report. Let's move on to new agenda items. Are there any future agenda items? Ryan? I'm assuming no. Jackie, you're good? Okay, so seeing none, let's move on to item 12, adjournment. Let's adjourn the meeting at 7:59. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.